once we complete a custom operations manual development project with our clients, the next step for them is to roll out their new operations manual to their team. And we created this free guide for them to help them ensure their team understands and integrates the business's operations manual successfully to their day-to-day work. And it includes a very clear 5-step process, which I'm going to go through in this video. And you will see that under each step, we have some key details, some key instructions, and these are some helpful information for the rollout process. We have the first initial 5 steps, and then we also have a bonus step here and some tips at the end. So let's start. Step number 1, review the manual yourself. We address this guide to the business owner or the management team, and I'm going to do the same in this video. So if you're the business owner, the first step, once you have your final copy of your operations manual, is to review it yourself, to familiarize with it before you go ahead and introduce it to your team. Typically in our projects, this happens within the project. Before the rollout begins, the first step is everyone to sit down and review it themselves and know it inside and out. You don't have to read it word by word. You just need to know what each hub includes or what each section includes what information. And this will give you confidence when you need to direct your team members to the manual when they come up with questions to you, because that is the cycle that we are trying to break, right? When our clients, most of our clients, when they came to us, the business was dependent on them or some key team members in their team. And what they wanted to do, to get the systems out of everyone's heads onto a paper, into a manual. And so whenever a team member asks a questions, they don't need to come to another team member or to the owner. They can go ahead and find the answer in the manual. You'll be able to say, have you checked our manual? It's all there because you've already used it or reviewed it. So the more familiar you are with your manual, the easier it will be for you to train, lead, and also hold your team accountable to use the manual as well. And once your team sees you using and referring to the manual consistently, they will start doing the same, because this will become part of your systems thinking culture. And that is the ultimate goal. The goal is not to just build the manual, but to ensure that everyone is actually referring to it whenever they need. So in order to build that culture, first, and as you know, culture building starts top down, you need to review it and start referring to it, and then they start copying you, and this becomes the central part of your operations rather than a document on the shelf. Step number 2 is introducing the manual to your management team. So before you go ahead and introduce it to the larger team, we have this interim step, because you need buy-in from your leaders. You need them to act as champions of your operations manual. And you will hold this meeting, and we even created a meeting agenda. But the objective of this meeting is also help them understand how the manual benefits them and their teams, and also assign them the role of systems lead. I will explain. Meeting agenda. So imagine you are the business owner, you are holding this meeting, the manual is ready, your SOPs, your processes are documented, and mind you, when we create your operations manual, it doesn't only include your SOPs. I'm going to just show you one example. This is just an example. These are some typical sections. This is one of our past clients, by the Unite Fitness. And some of typical sections we usually include any operations manual. And as you can see, there are SOPs hubs, these 4, but there are also some other sections like org chart, culture values, business overview, checklist templates, video tutorials, glossary, directory, etc. So let's go back to the rollout. The first 5 minutes of the meeting, you are explaining why you created this manual. What was the bottlenecks at the beginning? And then you hired us, your operations manual has been created, and what are the benefits that you are seeing or you're expecting moving forward. So that bottlenecks, you have to give them why, because human psychology, when we learn the why behind any task, we are able to perform the task even better, because we are reasonable people. We were seeing, for instance, a lot of questions in between the team members. They were spending a lot of time. So we wanted to, and every time we hire someone, they're asking this exact same questions. So that's why we created the SOPs, we put the FAQs in it. Or I want you to delegate some more tasks so that you can more focus on working on the business rather than in the business, right? So you will explain the why behind it. And then the next one is what's in it for them. This is, again, part of the human psychology. When we ask anyone to change their process, the next thing that comes to their mind is, what's in it for me? Why am I supposed to do this? So you have to sell this to them. And I already gave some examples. You can say, we've been getting a lot of repetitive questions, or I want you to delegate more tasks, or you can focus on time savings or operational efficiency. You can say this is going to increase our operational or your team's operations efficiency, so you can get a lot more done in the same time, or process clarity. You can say, now that all the SOPs are documented, let's say one of your managers have 8 people under them. All 8 team members will be doing the process same right now, and they used to do it differently because they weren't following any workflow, let's say, for that process. Or service consistency, scalability, reduce stress. This is important as well. So tell them what's in it for them. Then the next thing on the agenda is you giving live overview of the manual, and we can help you on this step as well. You will go through the structure, which is the structure that I showed you with Unite Fitness Operations Manual example, the skeleton. And then you go through the SOPs, show them what is located where, and maybe focus on how to use the search function as well, so that they can find specific information very easily using the search function in Notion. The next one is explaining the systems lead role. This is to encourage them or encourage their team to refer to the OM whenever it's needed. As I told you at the beginning, you want them to champion the usage of operations manual. So that's why you explain the systems lead role. And they will also monitor the submissions to the operations manual fixed request form, which we typically include in our custom built manuals for our clients. And they will make sure the SOPs are up to date, because an operations manual is always a living, breathing document. As your team grows or as your business grows, so does your operations manual. The next 5 minutes will be focused on the next steps. You're going to give them 1 to 2 weeks to read the manual and fix or flag any gaps or errors or missing SOPs, and then the Q&A. So if you follow this agenda, first you are selling the manual. First, you're actually explaining the reasoning behind it, why we did this, what's the problem that we are trying to solve, and what's in it for them, which is the benefits, the direct benefits for them. And then you are helping them navigate the manual, and then you're closing it with next steps. So we have some tips here, how to explain what's in it for them. And one example here, for instance, you can tell them, remember how every time you go on vacation, you come back to a mountain of work to catch up on, or worse, you have to work while you're in the vacation? Well, now your processes are documented, your SOP, your entire team SOPs are documented. It will be easier for your team or other teams to step in and help out when you're on leave. So they're going to think that, oh, this is what's in it for me. Or you can say, we want to move you to a more senior position, but in order to be able to do that, you need to delegate some tasks off of your plate to another person. So creating your systems will help you do that. Step number 3. Management team reads the OR. 1 to 2 weeks. The goal is for them to become familiar with the content and also flag if there is anything missing or unclear. So in most of the projects, by the way, we not only work with the business owner, but we also do our knowledge extraction calls with the team members. And sometimes this includes management team. So in those projects, they are already familiar with the OM. So that's why for them, this step may take less than 2 weeks. And their instructions for this step is to read the OM, flag the gaps, and use the operations manual fixed request form. They can submit whenever any team member can submit this form when they see something wrong or unclear in the manual. Step number 4 is you introducing the manual to the larger team. Very exciting step. And I want you to keep in mind the why all the time, why you are doing this. And now it is the time to explain those benefits and sell the manual to the larger team, because this is going to require a little bit of a change management. The meeting goal is number 1, introduce the manual with energy and clarity. And we have a tip here. The reason why we have to do this is because people, human beings, we are very good at reading energy. Imagine yourself, you go onto a sales call, let's say, someone is trying to sell you something. If you like the idea or the service, but you don't like the person, they look tired, they are as if this is their 10th sales call in the day, they are not giving you enough attention. you probably end up not buying the service just because you didn't like the person. Maybe that person is just maybe part of the support team, but still you end up not buying it because you read their energy. So this happens subconsciously in our mind. Same with our team. They read our energy. Sometimes they even copy it. So you have to introduce the manual and the system-centered thinking, because that is the culture that you are trying to build now, with excitement and also focusing on the opportunities this will create for everyone. Another goal with this meeting is to help them understand how the manual benefits them and make the manual the go-to resource moving forward. So you will basically tell them, this is our one single source of truth from now on. How we do things is documented here. And you will start the meeting with framing this as a celebratory milestone. And then moving on with what's in it for them. For the larger team, what's in it for them is, or maybe different than what's in it for the management team. Some examples here. This is our go-to resource. This is our one single source of truth, as I said. Task clarity is another benefit for them. Time savings, autonomy. Rather than shadowing another person to complete some tasks, now everything, we have the tutorials, we have the workflows, we have the guidelines in our operations manual. You can do your tasks on your own. So this gives you more freedom, more autonomy, or reduce stress again. And then you move on with the live walkthrough of the OM, the same thing, the structure, what's included where, and how to use the search function in Notion. And then you move on with the next steps. Next steps is where you instruct them to read the full operations manual and identify any gaps, any errors, and submitting them using the fix request form. And if they have edit access, they can go ahead and fix the issues directly. But most of your team, especially the larger team, will have probably view-only access, so they won't be able to edit the operations manual directly. But your management team might probably have that access. And then the Q&A. So this is step number 4. We are very close to the end. Step number 5 is they read the OM, they flag if there is anything wrong, and as they perform their day-to-day work, you want them to follow the steps in the manual in certain workflows to double-check or cross-check the process that is outlined in the manual actually reflects the reality or matches how the task is actually done. So for instance, one of your accounting team members, let's say, is a marketing team member, has a weekly task of running certain reports from your CRM. You can tell them, you don't have to do anything anything new. You are doing this task on a weekly basis anyway. The next time you do this task, I just need you to open the manual on one end and just cross-check the steps that you are completing to make sure that SOP is correct, using the manual as their first point of reference before they ask for help or ask a question to you or to another team member. Then we have a bonus step. The reason why we do this is because, as I said, the manual, any business operations manual, evolves or expands as the business evolves. And what they do during these audits, they review the OM. Again, not reading word by word. If they can do that, that's even better, of course. But even skimming, scanning is enough. And they update any outdated SOPs and they create the missing ones. So these are the instructions for that. And lastly, we have these 2 tip boxes here. And this is more for our clients. We have our, because most of them ask us, need you guys, will you be able to help us? And we say yes, because we have OM maintenance service. This is an on-demand support, not a monthly subscription, or it's a usage-based model. We charge them once our regular daily session rate, and then we use from that balance until it's over, until we use up everything. So they can come to us if they want to update their SOPs, edit their SOPs. They can do that on their own. They don't have to come to us. But if they need us, we have the service to be their operations manual point person. So, and some tips here. These are really good. And these tips are also part of our how to ensure your team uses your operations manual webinar as well. So these tips are from that webinar. And also watch that webinar too. That is a free resource from us as well. But this is basically how you roll out your operations manual to your team. And running your business with your operations manual by your side opens many doors for the business. It puts an end to the tribal knowledge where everyone says all the knowledge lives in my head. And it shifts you from person dependency to systems dependency. It brings consistency to the service quality and the operations, it streamlines the onboarding and training process for the new hires. It makes the scaling the business much more efficient and possible, or franchising the business, or if you want to sell or exit the business in the future, you definitely need your operations manual. So if you're interested in our custom operations manual development service, I will leave our inquiry form link in the description. Reach out to us and we can help you and build a custom manual for you and your team. I will also link our webinar, the how to ensure your team uses the business operations manual webinar, in the description, and also the link to this guide as well. Thank you for watching. If I